Hello and welcome. My name is Evan, and this is the Rules for Business Communication class. Today, we're talking about contracts, how to write a contract, how to understand the terms of a contract. We have a lot of vocabulary. We have some important grammar to talk about today. So let's fill out our contracts together. Come on. For the vocabulary today, I wanted to start with two ideas: abbreviation and acronym. Abbreviation means one word shortened, like Mr., Doctor, Street. An acronym is many words shortened, like KFC or USA, for example. An abbreviation and an acronym are written differently. An abbreviation is, for example, like this: limited, LTD, period. Okay? Limited, capital L, small td, period. All right? An acronym would be LLC, LLP, no periods. Okay? So these three abbreviations or acronyms are important for identifying the type of business. Now, I won't go too specific into these differences. Just know that it's a different organizational structure and the taxing is different. These companies are taxed differently. But let's identify what they are, okay? LTD, that just means limited liability, right? Limited, one word, okay? LLC is limited liability company, and LLP is limited liability partnership. Again, these are different ways to identify a company based on the board of directors, the organization, and the taxation, how the companies are taxed. All right? But always remember to write abbreviations with a period and acronyms just capitalized, no periods. Now, let's talk a little bit about some tricky words that you will see in a contract. All right? You're reading through a contract. What do you see? You see some small connecting words, okay? For example, herein or hereto. All right? These are prepositions that we do not use in spoken English, but you will see them in a contract. Okay? Herein means in the contract. Hereto means attached to the contract. Okay? So in the contract and attached to the contract. An attachment. Okay? An amendment to the contract. You also have heretofore. Heretofore. That just means from the past till now. From the past till now. We also have hereinafter, okay, which is, from now until the future. But yeah, so the important ones: herein, hereto, and then heretofore. When you are dealing with a contract, there are also some nouns to remember. So a contract is also an agreement. You have articles in the contract or conditions in the contract. These are the parts of the contract. They are often numbered, okay? And you have attachments to the contract. They are not in the contract, but they are attachments to the contract, okay? You also have a clause. A clause means a specific rule in the contract. And you have the terms of a contract. Terms means the list of rules. All of these are very important to understand. What is in the contract, what is attached to the contract, what are the rules, and what is the set of rules. If you understand that, then all you need to do is go through the contract and see if you agree to every rule. All right? Anyone who signs the contract is a party. The party to the contract. Okay? So you have the signers, we call them the party. Party 1, party 2. So, contracts. Lots of really difficult words. It's hard for me to understand sometimes. The text is very difficult. But just know that it's important to understand at least the basics before you sign a contract. So I think to help you out, let's look at specific contract examples and we'll go through the step-by-step process. Okay? All right, so let's continue to some grammar. Now for grammar, I wanted to highlight prepositions, the little words that we use for time, place, or order. Now prepositions are, for example, in, on, to, for, before, after, over, under. These are the little preposition words. They don't seem very important, but they can definitely change the meaning of your word, your sentence, especially if it's connected to a verb. All of these are called phrasal verbs. It's a verb and a preposition together, such as grow up, find out, look for, these words. Now, when it comes to prepositions in a phrasal verb, there are some patterns, but mostly you just have to memorize these specific phrasal verbs. They're confusing, they are difficult, and a lot of them don't follow the rules. But you should be able to see some patterns. And also, please remember, phrasal verbs are more common in American English than in British English. So be aware of that. Now, let's look at these examples. I have to, for, from, on, about, and with. Now, they're all very different, but there are some similarities. If it's to, it is usually a problem or a goal. Adapt to the cold winter, right? Agree to the assignment, okay? Consent to the agreement, right? So it's either a problem or a goal for most of these. For is usually a reason, okay? You pay for a taxi. You pray for your sick mother. You care for your sick mother. You apply for university. Okay, so it's usually a reason. And then from is often an experience, something in the past. For example, I graduated from university. All right, I prohibit from drinking. Protect from the assassin. I don't know. So it's some kind of experience. On is usually the end result. Okay, it's often very specific. All right, so agree on the contract. All right, base on your experience. Now, topic is often about, argue about school uniforms, ask about the food, okay, boast about your accomplishments. It's more general, it's a more general topic. And then with is almost always something equal. Okay, agree with my brother, associate with my friend, okay, coincide with my birthday. Again, though, if you look at these examples, they're all very different, and many of them don't follow into these categories that I've written out. But in general, you can kind of guess the meaning based on the context of the sentence and try to find as many patterns as possible. So I just wanted to show you this list. Now we'll do some more specific examples with prepositions. Okay, continuing with prepositions. Remember, there are prepositions of time, like before, after, and for. There are prepositions of duration, how long. And there are prepositions of place, which are the most common ones. So I just wanted to show you this little chart because this is something I use with all my students, okay? If you're talking about prepositions of place, then just go by this: in, on, under, next to or near, between, among, in front of, behind. Okay? So just look at these pictures. It's pretty basic. And then if we continue, we have above, below, near, and far from. Okay? And of course, we have at, one of the more common ones, at. So these are prepositions of place. So it's important to know them for your spoken, right? Less important for contracts. In contracts, they use, like we talked about, herein, hereto, heretofore, like that kind of stuff, okay? But again, please remember your basic pronouns there's prepositions of place. Now, one more thing I'd like to talk about is prepositions of time, okay? We have many prepositions of time, but the easy one to remember is, okay, in, at, on. Okay, in, on, at. Okay, let me make the text a little bit bigger. All right. So if we remember these, in is big. On is medium. And at is small. Okay, if you're talking about time, in 1997. In the 21st century. In December. All right, big ones. Medium, on Wednesday. On the weekend. On my birthday. Okay, all of these are on. They're medium, a day. And then at, that's small. So at midnight. At 4:32 p.m. At breakfast. Okay, so I hope these examples can show you. This is the easy way to remember prepositions. In, on, at. Okay, so be careful with your prepositions. Again, we use them for time or place, like I showed you. Okay, and we also use them for phrasal verbs, like we talked about. Okay, all right, good. So let's continue with a little more grammar and some examples. Let's take a break from grammar to show you an example. This is, I feel, a very interesting story. It's about a law that because there was one mistake with a comma, then the company lost millions of dollars. So I wanted to show you this right here. This is the list of people who are paid overtime, paid extra money. These are the categories of workers. Now, right here, shipment or distribution. They did not do a comma. Because of that, then that means that the company, it's a dairy company, a milk company, had to pay a whole new group of workers years of overtime money, all right? Millions of dollars. Why? Because their lawyer wrote the contract and didn't include a comma there, okay? One single comma, just this one thing, cost one company millions of dollars. So I wanted to highlight that just to show you that when you're dealing with contracts, every little thing matters. You have to make sure that everything is written correctly. Contracts are very difficult, and anyone can look through it, and try to find maybe a possible mistake somewhere, right? And if there's a mistake, that could be $1 million mistake. So to end today, I wanted to show you an example of a contract and just take out some important parts of it. Okay, so the first word to remember is letterhead. Okay, Something is not official unless it has the company letterhead, right? That's the picture, the logo of the company, usually with contact information, okay? So I didn't include the letterhead, but I wanted you to know that word, letterhead, letterhead, okay? The second thing I wanted you to look at is the dates. How you write dates in American English is like this, or British English, like that. Okay? So make sure you write dates in the correct order, depending on the country. All right, next we have an abbreviation. You see it a lot in emails. It's RE. RE is short for regarding. Regarding. That means about. Okay, this is about the employment agreement. Regarding the employment agreement. Now, when you start a contract, you'll have the specific names. All right, so you say what this document, and then you give it a capitalized name. So this is the agreement, this is the company. So they don't repeat the same words over and over again. They would say agreement, company, party, right? Capitalized, always capitalized. And that talks about the specific person, organization, or document. Okay, now as you go through it, they will have numbered or enumerated clauses, okay, conditions. See, the parts of them, okay, step by step, are numbered. All right, so in number 2, this is the second condition. It says term, okay? Now, the word term has a couple meanings here. All right, so number 1, it means part of the contract, okay? The terms of the agreement, the rules of the agreement, right? That's one definition. The other definition is time period, okay? The term of this agreement is 6 months, the term of this agreement. So be aware, the word term has 2 definitions, a part of the contract and an amount of time. Then you should see some familiar phrases such as duties and responsibilities. What is your job? You are a party. What must you do? Okay, the duties and responsibilities. You also see the adjective subject, often the phrasal verb subject to. All right, so subject means following the rules. Subject to these policies. Subject to this boss. Following these policies, following this boss. So subject, it means following the rules. Compensation is another word for money. That's important. So then we have, again, these are enumerated, A, B, C. Again, these are conditions, terms. So we continue down. Termination. Termination means when someone is fired, right? You're fired from the company. But in a contract, termination means when the contract can stop, right? So termination here, the contract can stop if you die, stops at death, if disability, someone is hurt, okay? With cause, meaning a reason, and without cause, meaning no reason, okay? The company just wants to stop it. They want to terminate the contract. So reasons for termination, reasons to stop the contract. Now, I wanted to show you one little thing here. This is an address. So British and American addresses are pretty similar. Usually 3 lines. You have the name of the person with a title. You have the street number and street address. You have the city, state, and zip code, just like that. In England, they don't have a zip code. Well, they do, but it's numbers and letters connected. And they won't have states, they will have counties. Or in Canada, they will have provinces. But Western addresses are always written in this format, in this order. So number goes before the state. Okay, and then here it's small and bigger. City, state, city, province, city, country. And then we end. Okay, so when they say terms and conditions, basically that means everything in the contract. And if you remember the email and letter class, we talked about closings. This is a closing. Very truly yours, comma. Signature. That's what this S means. Sign, signature. This is the digital version. All right, so the closing and signature. So I just wanted to show you that. These are all the different parts of a contract. Again, it's very important to understand every clause and every term, and always check to make sure that you are understanding the rules completely. Great, there we go. And that is the end of our class. I hope you took notes and you understand all of the new vocabulary and the new grammar. This was a very important topic. So if you have any questions, just let us know, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you.